Hi, so for this week, we are working on multiplying whole numbers and unit fractions. So I'm going to give you a couple examples so that you are able to help with homework at home. My first example is 9 times 1/8. Now, the first step we do is put a 1 here to represent 9 wholes. So you put a 1 as the denominator, and then you just multiply across. So 9 times 1 equals 9. 1 times 8 equals 8. Now, this is an improper fraction because our numerator is larger than our denominator. So we cannot leave it that way. So we have to think about how many wholes do we have in 9/8? Well, the whole represents, because our denominator is 8, the whole represents 8/8. So if I'm thinking about how many groups of 8 can I make with 9, that gives me 1. I can only make one group of 8. So I'm going to take out 8/8 from 9/8, so that would actually look like minus 8/8 equals, and then what will be left is 1. 9 minus 8 is 1, so I would bring that down and make that 1/8. So 9/8 actually equals 1 and 1/8. A way that students can check their work to make sure they are correct, they could take 1 and 1/8 and do 8 times 1, which would give them 8, and then plus 1, which would give them 9 for the 9/8. So they can also check their work that way. Another example that I wanted to go over was when we're using visuals, as well as sometimes there may not be a visual presented. But specifically for the homework, they will have to do repeated addition as well as solve the multiplication equation. So what repeated addition looks like is they would just add the fractions for each shape or visual. So in this case, we have 4 times 2/3. So our repeated addition sentence would look like 2/3 plus 2/3 plus 2/3 plus 2/3. We're just adding the 2 plus the 2 plus 2 plus 2. So once we add across, our denominator stays the same. So I'm going to bring my 3 over. 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 8. And we would get the same thing if we just did the 4 times the 2/3 by putting my 1 underneath to represent the 4 wholes. Bring it across. 4 times 2 is 8. 1 times 3 is 3. Now again, because we have 8/3, that is an improper fraction, so we do need to turn that into a mixed number. So I'm going to think about my multiples of 3, so I can think about how many groups of 3 I get from 8. So 3, 6. 3 times 2 is going to give me 6. So I'm going to write down 2 because I know that means I can pull out 2 whole groups. So since 3 times 2 is 6, I'm going to subtract 6/3 because that's where my 2 comes from. Now I'm going to look at what's left. 8 minus 6 equals 2/3. So I'm going to bring that over as well. And my final answer is 2 and 2/3. Now again, another way that we can verify that that is the correct answer, we can do 3 times 2, which is 6, plus 2, which is 8. And that puts us back at the 8/3. And that is how we multiply our whole numbers and fractions using multiplication as well as repeated addition.